What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Scales 13. In today's video, we're going to be doing a review of Rareearthinc. Alright guys, so today I'm going to tell you the story of how I acquired Thunder here, my wonderful little yellow Varanus Acanthurus, and I'm going to explain to you how I got in contact with Rareearthinc, and basically my story and my review of dealing with Rareearthinc as I went through the journey of obtaining Thunder and getting my new pet. So I'm going to give you the story while I'm actually feeding Thunder right now. So about 2.5 years ago, I was looking for a new pet, and I wanted something that was different than the common animals that you would see in your normal pet store. I had already kept leopard geckos, I had already taken care of multiple bearded dragons and crested geckos when I was working in pet stores, so the thrill of taking care of those animals was no longer there. Even though, as you guys know, I do still love those animals and have fun keeping them. I have a pair of leopard geckos myself. I just wanted to have something new, and I was watching a lot of videos and reading a lot about monitors and tegus, and I was like, man, if I can just get my hands on something like this would be really cool. But I had almost given up on getting an animal like that, believing that due to the fact that I didn't have a lot of space, I wasn't going to get a chance to have one of these animals for a very long time. And then I stumbled along a few videos on YouTube that really got me thinking that really sparked my interest. One was from Clints Reptiles. Clints Reptiles had a video where he was basically, if you guys are familiar with him, he reviews reptiles and gives them a rating based on how good they are as a pet. And he did one on the Ackie monitor that was really solid. I think he gave them about a 3.5 as a pet. And he was talking about the pros and cons to the animals. And that video was really solid and really made you think whether or not you could handle the animal as far as being able to successfully deal with the care requirements needed in order to keep this animal as a pet, right? So that got me thinking, wow, this might be an animal that I could get, right? And I kept searching up on Ackie monitors, and I found a video from Project Pet, who is another reptile keeper over in Europe, and he had a basic care guide on Ackie monitors, and that video was really good, and it really got me thinking about how cool these guys could be in as a pet, especially since he keeps a quad of Ackie monitors, so he has a male and 3 females. So I thought, wow, that's really cool. A reptile that can cohabitate, and especially a monitor lizard that can be cohabitated. That was really cool. So I was impressed with their size, the animal's demeanor, how interactive they can be. So at that point, I was pretty much hooked. I was like, man, I want an Ackie monitor. And the funny thing is, I heard of Dwarf Monitors before, but only in books. I had seen pictures of them, and I had seen pictures of animals described as spiny-tailed monitors, but I didn't know that they were in the pet trade. I didn't know that people kept them here in the States as pets, or that they were even legal to keep. So I was like, wow, man, these things are available. This is really cool. It looks like Thunder's having a little bit of a tough time right here with this roach. But yeah, so I kept searching around, and I was like, man, okay, now it's time to find a breeder. And I hit up a couple breeders that I found, but some of them had already sold their stock. Some of them had got out of the reptile game a little while ago, which makes sense because that is a bit of a tough job, being able to keep up with breeding, especially since, you know, a lot of these guys, since they're grown, they have families, and they have other responsibilities. And then I came across Rareearthinc. And when I came across Rareearthinc, you know, I hit the guy up. I told him that I was inquiring some information about an Ackie monitor, and hopefully sometime in the near future that I wanted to get one. And the thing that I respected about Brandon the most is that as soon as I hit him up asking about one, I think it was maybe 24 hours later, he hit me up and said, hey, sure, no problem, man, that's really cool. Do you want to hit me up for a call real quick and we can have a conversation? And honestly, the conversation that we had was kind of like an interview. And this hits my main point that I really respect about him, which is animal welfare. So what Brandon did was he basically asked me questions about my experience that I've had with reptiles. Like, have you kept reptiles before? What type of animals have you kept? And as you guys already know, I've kept leopard geckos. I had a blue-tongued skink already. I had already kept snakes. And I told him that, and he was like, okay, cool. So you have some experience with keeping reptiles. All right, have you ever had monitors before? And I said, no, I've never had a monitor lizard before. And I wanted to get into monitors, but I wanted to start off with something that I could handle. Being that, you know, my experience level wasn't in a place where I feel like I was ready for a large monitor or something that was a little bit more difficult to take care of. And he told me, he was like, well, here's the thing. Ackies are a great starter monitor, but I'm going to tell you from the beginning, these guys are much different than the species that you've told me about that you have already been keeping. So I want to make sure you're ready for this. So have you done any research on these guys? And it became kind of like a thing where it's like I was asking questions and he was kind of like, I don't know, you tell me. Basically in a way to pick my brain to see if I had been doing my research. So I told him a couple things and he was like, okay, cool. And there was a couple things that I read up on that he, of course, being a long-term breeder, and the fact that, of course, as we know, guys, in the reptile community, some information is outdated and some information is also not 100% correct. And, you know, as a breeder, he basically explained to me how things that I had read were good and how some other things need to be tweaked a little bit as far as the care of the animal and what his experience told him about how to take care of the animals. And that was a really solid conversation. Our first conversation, he was definitely a huge source of information, very nice guy. He kept in contact with me for quite a while until I was ready, and I bought the enclosure. And another thing that I liked about him, besides just animal welfare, was how he did things as a businessman. So once I bought the enclosure, I told him what enclosure I had, and he told me, he was like, okay, well, this is what you need to do to make that enclosure better. He told me to close off the vents, and he told me basically how to set up things so that way the lighting is good, so that way you can get the proper temperatures. He told me what temperatures work well for him, for his monitors, and being that I was inquiring to get an animal from him, I wanted to go with whatever conditions that he had for his animals because I wanted to replicate that same environment that they were already thriving in. He, on his social media pages, he had beautiful pictures of the animals. He had a multitude of different species that I was keeping. He doesn't just do Ackie monitors, guys. He also does the Palmyra rock monitors. He does the Pygmy Mulga monitors. He does Varanus tristis, the black-headed monitors. And he also does Gidgee skinks. So that was really cool to see how much success he had breeding and dealing with multiple species. And not only did he take time to help me out over the phone with setting up my enclosure and everything else, but his delivery time for these animals was 100% on point. What I did was I actually reserved Thunder while he was still in the egg. So he showed me the clutch. He told me when they would be hatched. He told me approximately when the egg should hatch. And what I did was I put down a deposit on the animal, and then when the eggs hatch, then you go with the rest of the payments, the shipping, the blah, 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 right? So that was really cool. It was a really cool experience to have him help me set up my enclosure before Thunder was even born. And another cool thing was he sent me a lot of pictures of Thunder and a small video that I'm actually going to show you guys in a minute of Thunder when he was a baby and how he was doing after he hatched. It was really afraid to tell me, hey man, your animal that I picked out for you has a really cool neck stripe. This one's going to be yours. And it was really cool to see that he was showing me pictures of what I was going to get. And then upon the day that I actually received Thunder, all the markings matched the picture of the animal that I got. So I was really, really happy with that. That was great customer service there. And even after the fact, even after I received Thunder and basically had him in my care as a pet, I was gonna make you chase that, but I guess you're not pulling any punches today, huh, buddy? Okay. And even after the fact, after I got Thunder home and after I basically got him accustomed to everything, and I was still dialing in temperatures and different things because, of course, you know, anybody who's an experienced reptile keeper knows that if you want to improve your animal's husbandry and their enclosure, the first time you get a new species, how the enclosure looks when you first get the animal may change, or you might make some different variations or some restructure to the enclosure just because you're finding out new information, just making things more comfortable for the animal, especially as it's growing. And he helped me out with that. I would send him a message, and of course he's a busy guy. He doesn't get back to you, the same hour or anything, because obviously he has other customers he has to deal with. He has a family, but at the same time, when he did get back to me, he would always give me good advice, different things that were good for the animal. He would tell me if there's anything that I was doing incorrectly when I would ask him different questions. So he just gave me real solid, honest information. So when it comes to animal welfare, when it comes to a good business, good solid business, and when it comes to just being very tactful and making sure that all the little details that come into play whenever you're obtaining an animal and whenever you're doing business with somebody is put to the test. I honestly believe that Rareearthinc is one of the best Ackie monitor breeders out there. So when it comes to animal welfare, when it comes to being a good businessman, honestly, I give Brandon and Rareearth 2 thumbs up. So if you guys want to check them out, definitely look them up. That's where I got Thunder from. Thunder has been a joy to keep. I've had him for almost 2 years now. He is not only a great quality animal as far as his looks and his health, but he's a great companion. Now, granted guys, as you guys know, Thunder is very friendly, and he is very much a very curious and inquisitive animal. But at the same time, not all Ackie monitors are going to, Ackies are going to tame out as well as mine did. But if you go with Rareearthinc and you get one of his animals, I think you have a great shot of having a really awesome companion and a really great pet. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and my review of Rareearthinc. I'm going to be doing more of these in the future as I obtain more animals from different breeders. I'm going to give you my honest opinions about how they are as business owners, and I'm also going to give you my opinion on how they deal with things as far as the health of their animals and their animals' welfare. So there's going to be more of that coming as the channel grows and as I obtain more creatures in the future. So I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have any questions, leave any questions in the comments. Everyone have a great day. Peace. Later.